Now, where am I? I'm there. Hello. Wonder where you'd gone. Now, 2014 was a tricky year for the co-op movement, thanks to the behaviour of the former co-op bank chairman, Paul Flowers. You remember he was found to have been using drugs and nearly drove the bank into the wall. But the co-op party, which draws much of its funding from the co-op group, claims to be in good health. It has the support of 31 Labour MPs and it's launching its manifesto today. Here's Giles with more.
You've probably shopped in a co-op, maybe arranged a funeral with one, possibly bank with them despite their recent problems. But did you know around 700 schools are run with a cooperative ethos? Corelli College in South London is one. School values are self-help, self-responsibility, democracy, solidarity, equality and equity. Now that might sound rather PC, even gimmicky, but the students give you a sense it really means something to them.
Every activity that we do has to implement, has to show that we've applied those values. So I think I really understand what each value means and what a cooperative academy actually means.
In later life as well, it's very important to be able to work in a team, to be able to show that you understand everyone's values, that everyone is equal and that everyone has a say.
I just used to think the co-op was just a shop up the street, but now I see it as a movement.
They are a movement 200 years old, but there's also a cooperative party allied with Labour. So is the school producing party politicised kids?
Our students are very clear that they have the complete right to make up their own opinions, and they have really interesting debates. They spar with each other verbally, they enjoy the rapport that goes with that, but essentially they like the fact that there is no sense that you have to be of a particular way, that all things fit and all things matter here.
Future independent thinkers, but what's the future for the party that claims it's independent? There's 31 Labour MPs who are also cooperative MPs, who say their campaign for a credit union to help the military and veterans avoid payday lenders shows the difference between them.
We've actually been pushing the Labour Party to commit to doing that in government, but we've also been pushing the current government to be doing that. And to be fair to both, in the end, they've both come on board with that idea of a military credit union. Without the cooperative party, that simply wouldn't have happened.
Access to power isn't just political. On an estate in Brixton, an innovative solar energy cooperative isn't just lighting up an estate and its cooperative-run Residents Association office, it's providing opportunity and training.
The scheme's helped me with energy costs at home, it's helped my mother, my parents, my family really, and it's also helped me incorporate myself with the community and help out. Also helped me to get to know residents, and at the end of the scheme it also helped me to move on to get a job as well.
Kamal invested money from his own earnings from being his paid working experience. He was part of the 30-week internship. He invested some of that money into becoming a member of that co-op, and when he gets a dividend he feels different. So he's seeing 40% reductions in his energy bill from the energy efficiency measures that we've installed in the house, but he's also getting paid on top of that part of the return from the co-op.
Cooperative schemes are growing. Expect to see more. Oh, and guess what the party want?
I think the co-op party should be part of those leaders' debates. We're an effective political party. We've been going for a long time. Why shouldn't our voice be heard in those debates too?
And the General Secretary of the Cooperative Party, Karin Christiansen, joins me now. Welcome to the Daily Politics. Now, as I understand it, you can't be a co-op candidate without also being a member of the Labour Party. Is that right?
To be one of our candidates, we work with the Labour Party, so all of our candidates are joint. But actually, our membership is not.
I understand that, but why don't they just stand as Labour candidates?
Because they come from a cooperative movement. So the co-op movement set up the Co-op Party in 1917, which is quite a way back now, that was actually around trying to find a political voice for the movement, which is a movement that is fundamentally about the distribution of power and the distribution of profit, but as a business, a really pragmatic business movement to do that, but rapidly realised it needed a political voice. And the decision that was taken in 1927 to actually form that electoral agreement, I think we're now on our fourth electoral agreement with the Labour Party, was a really interesting tactical measure in many ways. I mean, there's a deep ideological relationship there. We come from the same places.
But let me ask you this. Your candidates fight the election on the Labour manifesto, not the Co-op manifesto.
They do. As a Labour candidate, that is where they're...
So what's the point of the Co-op manifesto if they're not standing on it?
Well, the point of the Co-op manifesto, like so many of the manifestos, is actually to influence the Labour Party. That's how we've got our traction and delivery over the years.
Dare I say it, Karin, does the Co-op movement need what you might call a clause 4 moment, where you actually say our future is to be decoupled from the Labour Party? There are actually lots of bright Conservatives people used to talk about something called the big society, which I'm a big fan of intellectually, where you say actually lots of them believe in spreading ownership. That's what capitalism is meant to be about. Thatcher believed in it. And isn't the future of the Co-operative Party, if you want to have a place in those debates, to say actually we're not just going to be the sort of also-ran of the Labour Party?
The Greens or the Lib Dems?
Yeah, look, I think there's a really interesting decision there that the Co-op movement would have to take. But I think actually the Co-op movement has got huge value out of that relationship. If we had a different electoral system, we could have quite a different conversation. But if you look at the amount of, we wrote most of the consumer rights legislation, Football Supporters Club, cooperative schools, all of that legislation that has framed the ability of the Co-op movement to function. Whereas the Greens, they've got a lot more profile from their separation, but their ability to actually influence policy, in many ways...
But what is your ability? Because there's lots of things in your Co-op manifesto, lots of interesting ideas. For example, to ensure that all British businesses with more than 50 employees should set up a profit-sharing scheme. It's a very interesting idea. Replacing business rate stamp duty with a land value tax. That's an idea that's been around for a long while, since even before 1917. But Labour's not going to adopt any of that.
Well, in the past, we've had very high levels of adoption.
What do you think was your biggest conversion to Labour, do you think, on policy?
Well, I think things like cooperative schools, the whole credit union support that happened after '97 and that huge growth in that sector, football supporters trusts, which I think are incredibly exciting.
What will you influence, you think, in this manifesto coming up?
Well,
do you know yet?
No, because...
Do you go into a room and try and argue your case? Look, this is our manifesto and you should take at least these bits into the Labour manifesto.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm part of our relationship is that I'm and other members of the Co-op Party are part of the National Policy Forum.
Are you a Labour Party member too?
I am personally, but my primary role is the
But
Co-op.
why wouldn't you remove this artificial limit on your ambitions? Why wouldn't you say, actually, we really believe in cooperative ideals. Why wouldn't you say, actually, we want to be separate from the Labour Party?
Maybe back a Green Party or...
No, I think that, as I say, the issue in the British electoral system is you get influence. And we've done that it's part of the whole way the Co-op movement has operated, frankly, is quietly getting things done without as much of the high profile that perhaps the Green Party has got.
Are you worried that you're in decline? Your membership is now under 8,000.
Of the Co-op Party? No, I think actually, the last year hasn't been the most
because
easy
of all the row over the bank.
But I actually think if you take it a step back, the values, the ideas, the practices, even more excitingly, the practices of the Co-op Party and the movement are incredibly attractive to people. And actually, they're a really, it's a business movement that has a really powerful view about who gets the profits from business and challenging vested interests.
But you get your funding from the cooperative group. And as I understand it, there's a vote pending on whether to continue funding the party. If that vote goes against you, is it over?
No, and the Co-op Party would absolutely continue existing. But
where would you get the money?
From our members, which is what we...
But you'd lose, I think, is it £1 million of annual funding you get?
No, so the numbers that regularly get bandied around on this one have been a little...
625,000 handed to the Co-op Party in the past 12 months, and then another 370 ahead of the next election?
No, so we get a significant subscription seat. They're members of the cooperative party.
But you get that money too, don't you?
Where they vote on us on an annual basis, democratically, transparently.
Right.
And I think it's... I think the Co-op movement should be proud of its contribution to politics. And the money as well. It's very transparent and open.
It's been fascinating to talk to. We've run out of time. It's always a bit of a rush on Fridays when we've got Politics Europe as well. But come back and tell us what you've managed to get the Labour Party to,
I would love to.
insert into their manifesto.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Take care.